Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies, and I'm $100 Bill.
I'm Pete the Rookie.
Naomi the Dealmaker.
Naomi the Dealmaker. I don't know, Pete. What do you think?
Let her keep at it for a while.
I was
Just
thinking that she should probably.
I like her.
Let's try that again. I think she needs a little bit more enthusiasm this morning. All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. I'm $100 Bill.
And I'm Pete the Rookie, and this is
Naomi the Dealmaker.
Bang. There we are. It's early.
AKA Finger Breaker.
Finger Breaker?
Yeah, Finger Breaker, yeah.
Where'd that come from?
She's collecting money right now.
All right.
Yeah. And she doesn't use any weapons.
Oh, she doesn't have to.
No. It's finger.
Breaking.
No, it's
time.
finger. What is it? Finger via finger. Snap, snap.
One at a time?
One at a time.
Do you have the money yet?
Yeah.
Clink. How about tomorrow? Clink. Next week? Clink, clink.
The boss isn't going to like that. Snap, snap.
Thumb. Crack.
You know, and nobody would suspect me.
Yeah.
I just look so sweet and
innocent.
Hi, do you have the money yet?
Crack. They don't know what hit them before they notice. And the money's out, the wallet's out of their pocket. They're on the ground. I'm sorry.
Stealth under the radar. See, now if Bill was to show up, they'd be... all their defenses would be up.
Wallet.
But I show up and they're kind of relaxed.
Ready with their story.
Ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we couldn't pay because, it rained yesterday.
Finger to the Adam's apple. Boom. No, we're not that bad.
So someday, our kids... Is Jesse on? No? I was going to tell her when Max gets born, he's going to have this movie. Instead of The Godfather, it's going to be Naomi Mother. Mother Naomi. Snap, snap. All right.
Ruthless Naomi Ruth.
Ruth.
Middle name Ruth.
Middle name Ruth.
Naomi Ruthless.
You don't want to pay your rent? We're sending Naomi. No, not Naomi. All right, we're on episode number 82.
And I hired a lawyer. I could have just called you.
Could have been so easy.
So, new definition for cash for keys.
Send
Naomi with some cash, and she'll bring the cash back.
And the keys.
The
cash and keys.
Yeah, they're out, Bill. No problem. What you do? We'll talk about that later.
Don't worry about it. It's all done.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Just go on the next step.
It's don't worry about it. It's not about
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Episode number 82 we are on, Peter. We've been together for 82 episodes. You and I, we haven't got divorced. We probably even had a few fights in there, haven't we? A few disagreements here and there. Yes.
I'll definitely vouch for that. Some of the interesting
You missed the first couple.
The referee.
It's great amusement. I mean, I couldn't... Who needs reality TV
Sadist.
when I'm watching this?
Sadist.
We were on reality TV. That's when the fighting started, I think. Episode 82.
This is reality radio or internet radio. Reality podcast.
Yeah, we joke around too much. Sometimes maybe people don't like it, but I don't know. They haven't said anything bad about it. So, all right, episode 82 for the third time. Is making a living keeping you from making money and wealth?
That's a question.
Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
I think it's a statement.
Yeah, well, I put it as a question, but
yeah. No,
the listeners have to ask. So, in other words, let me rephrase the question. Is your job, that thing, which is an acronym, JOB, just over broke, is your job keeping you from making money and wealth? Right? Or change it, is your boss keeping you from making money and wealth? Are you spending too much time on your job for your boss, making him all the money and not you?
I don't have time to make money. I'm too busy working.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So then on the Facebook description, if you are not on Facebook, I wrote, truth is, ... What stops most people from wealth is the information they already have that isn't working for them. What if that information was lies or just not correct? Listen to this podcast and get the underground truth so you can start getting profits fast and easy. And I have to tell you, Peter knows this. Naomi is aware of this now because she's been part of the fold for a while. I know me personally, I have been working probably, I don't know how long it's been, 2 years, year and a half, something like that. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars, or at least thousands and thousands of dollars, trying to make it so that every person in the United States that wants to learn real estate can do it without spending a fortune.
Yep.
So what I have finally done, which is so hard to do, I had no idea. It sounds so, I think it's called an oxymoron, right? It's so hard to make something easy. Is that an oxymoron?
I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it, but the truth is...
I know I'm a moron most of the time, so...
you big ox, just stop it right there.
The definition of genius, making the complex simple.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm genius, but I know that it's really been hard for me.
Yeah.
But I think we nailed it. Not I think, because I've been putting some people through the course, which, by the way, I was going to tell you this morning. I want to make sure you go through it. And I've talked to Jesse. Is Jesse on yet? Okay, I talked to Jesse, and Jesse's going to go through the course. So I have some people that are around me. I have a couple friends of mine that are going to go through it. It's almost done. I've got to make... I was gone for 5 days. Otherwise, it would be done. And the course is all about... and I'm not here promoting the course. I'm just telling you what we've been doing, and I want to talk about the things that we've been testing that actually made this course come about. Okay? Oh, my goodness. Someday I'm going to have to fix this. I don't know how to fix this. Anyways. This damn mic. Makes me cough. So what happened is 14 years of me grinding it out. And I'm telling you, some years I really ground it out. I mean, it was especially through 2008 and 9 and 10. I mean, there are a couple cycles in there. When I first started, the cycle wasn't that good. I went through 2 bad cycles so far with real estate, and I really thought this year it was going to come. But I got to tell you, I'm not into politics. Although lately I've been watching it just because I'm fascinated.
Well, we
on
live
what's
here.
Happen. Yeah,
we live here.
Fascinated on
He's
what's
sort
going
of
to happen.
observant. Yeah.
And I can tell you that whoever's behind it, and I'm sure there's only a handful of people behind it, the diversion of the country, the fact that the country's split in half, scares me because those are revolution, or what is it? They're going to start fighting the North and the South. What is that called? Is it a revolution?
Civil War.
Civil War? It feels like that's coming.
Yeah, it's between. Yeah,
it really feels like that's coming, which is just too bad. It's just crazy.
But maybe if people start actually doing well, making some money and having some decent life, maybe they'll stop complaining, or maybe they'll forget what they're complaining about and just have a better life.
I only know my small world, and I say small because I'm not. I mean, I have guys all over the country that I coach and podcast and stuff like that. So my world isn't exactly small, but it's not very big either. It could be bigger. I will tell you from my experience, regardless of what the TV says or what the politicians say or anything like that, there is not a single person that I haven't talked to, and I talk to a lot of people. You guys know that that haven't told me that they are doing so much better under this administration than they were the others. The numbers are up, their profits are up. It's easier to do business, and especially since the tax law changed in December. Right. It's like all of a sudden things are like rocking. I know for us they are. They're just rock. I don't even know why. I don't want to explain it. It's just they're just rocking.
Last year, a good friend of mine, the family has a business, and right after the election, they don't know why, the calls started coming in and got more business. So some random, a business with a building, and they make things, and it's just like boom. They don't even know why it happened, but it just started happening.
Part of it too is during the election. I mean, a lot of business owners were telling me that it was almost like everybody was just so locked in on the election. It was difficult for them to do anything.
They didn't know which way to go.
And then finally, after the election was done, whether they were happy or sad, they're like, okay, time to move forward with life. Right. And so it's almost like this backlog of orders and stuff.
Pent up sales,
yeah. Wait to see what happens.
Happening. But the other thing too is now it's a year, 2 years.
It's a year.
A year.
Yeah, a year later.
A year later, it still seems to be doing better.
So I don't know what's going to happen. I thought 2018 it was going to. So I'm a little bit confused about that because I was predicting that But there's the cart. It's not even that the game changed. It's like we went into a whole nother. We went from like hockey to like being a ballerina. I mean, it's like that much difference.
Yeah.
You know, so what happened was last year I was predicting that because in the cycles, my cycles in my head, the 8 year it usually crashes, or it starts to crash. The 9 years bad, the 0 years bad, the 1 year's bad, and the 2 year it starts to recover. And then by the time you get to the 3 year, it's good 3 to 7, right? Every decade. Right, and that's what I was planning for. So, I know you and I talked about.
I've talked to people that they notice the same thing. Just somebody I know. Yeah, every 10 years, they've seen it. It's not. They're not making it up.
So we consciously I consciously accidentally found Naomi. You found Naomi in the middle of last year.
Well, I think she found us, Bill.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I think.
I mean, no, it was like somebody found me that told me to go to you. Yeah. Anyway, it's like this big long.
Tell me karma isn't true.
It is true.
So we had talked.
Yeah.
When I originally we decided to team up, the one of the things that I had talked about is that I wanted to switch the business from doing not so many renovations to doing more of the terms deals.
Yeah.
I was doing them, but not that many.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to talk about because, it was, the way I had the business set up is it was less labor intensive because I kind of had people in place, I had contractors and stuff like that. And then as soon as I made that decision, it's when all of a sudden all the contractors and all the crap started to happen because I made a decision that I was going to change it. And I just recently realized that. So we started last fall, like September-ish, really hammering out finding terms deals.
Yes.
Which, if somebody's new on the podcast, let's just go over that.
Mm-hmm.
So a terms deal pretty much means that we're going to pay the seller later. Okay, so if the seller's looking for $150,000, they're not getting it in 30 days. We're going to tell them we're going to find you a buyer.
Yeah.
And within 2 years, we're going to give them money. So for anybody that's listening to the podcast that's new, just realize what I just said. So many people think you need to have money in real estate. They feel like they're like, oh, I don't have any capital. I'm broke. How am I going to do this? Well, the place that we get our money to buy houses is from the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we don't need to go find private lenders. I mean, I had them on renovations and stuff like that, but for terms deal, you don't need to do that.
Right.
Okay.
Wish I knew that 30 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm at
You know
these,
it now, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So you just need to realize that what you need, which is why I'm telling you the truth is what stops people from wealth is the information they already have that isn't working for them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the information they already have is, well, if I'm going to invest in real estate, I need money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is correct, but you don't need your own money. You don't need a bank's money. You don't need a private lender's money. Go get the money from your buyer.
Right, right.
Mm.
And then set things up so that the buyer can use the property while they're getting their money.
Yeah.
So if you think about, if you've been listening at all recently, an option is an offer or how much you're going to pay in terms saying, okay, Peter, I'll give you $150,000 for your property, but I can't do it for 24 months.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me 24 months to pay you? And sometimes we'll pay more money so if they wait, depending on the deal. But you say, yes, okay. And then we sign what we call an option agreement, right? Which, by the way, we don't know about this because most lawyers or closing it to agents or realtors or insurance guys or title people, they don't make money if we use an option. So they're not going to tell us about this. They're not going to tell us about this tool because it cuts them out of the deal.
Maybe don't have the kind of patience that we do.
Who?
Lawyers, realtors, because you have to wait for this. You get some money now, some money monthly, some money later. But it's not all like house sold, money impact, okay, next, and you move on.
Right.
So we have an investor type of patience that we're willing to make some money now, get money monthly, get money later, and then do it again and again and again.
Right.
And then there's plenty of money coming now, plenty of money coming monthly, and then a lot coming later down the road, like an investment, not just I went to work today, I got paid today, end of the week. We have like some kind of patience or something.
More of a focus on passive cash flow.
I remember talking to you years ago when you first started doing this. We were friends. Like, hey, how's that real estate going? Oh, it's good. I got a lease, and I'll cash out about 4 years. I'm thinking 4 years. I'm not waiting 4 years for my money.
Right.
What's he doing over there? See, talk to you later. Right. I didn't understand what it was about. I was doing other things, and but you had it figured out. And I didn't know what you meant.
It's money now, money monthly, money later.
Yeah.
So it's positioning you from 3 streams of income
instead of one.
Mm-hmm.
So the point that I'm trying to make here is that who's been lying to you, and they don't even. It's not like some malice of forethought, like they've intentionally started lying to you. It's just that the realtor's lying to you, and they don't mean to. It's just the way our industry is, the way our society's hooked up, right? The closing attorney's the same way. The closing attorney's like, well, you need to have a closing attorney to buy a house. I got to tell you, the first 40 houses I bought, I did kitchen table closings, and I did the filings myself. I never used an attorney. Mm-hmm. And oh yeah, by the way, I sold every single one of those houses and on lease options, and eventually to a bank. And there was a few little mistakes here and there, but it wasn't anything that couldn't be fixed in a closing.
You're not in jail.
And nobody, yeah, exactly.
What
and
a
I made all that
relief.
money. What a good statistic. I'm not in jail. Bill, you must be legitimate. You're not in jail.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah, good.
No, because people can worry about what if I screw up and I'll,
Right.
I'll go bankrupt, I'll run out of money, and then beggar's court. I don't have to worry about. But
The truth is that technically, and I call it the underground truth, because really, who knows about this? I mean, we're standing up on the stage now and we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I mean, most people that are listening to the podcast, they have no idea this exists.
Right.
Right? It's like, and it's one, and oh yeah, by the way, it's not only so legal, but it was around before the realtors and the attorneys were around. Mm-hmm. I mean, this has been around for hundreds of years.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they bought and sold real estate before the realtors came on board in the 50s.
Yeah.
So this is not some new, innovated, like, we were calling it, because I've been calling it new era real estate.
yeah,
Right. Well, what's new about it is the way we're teaching it.
Mm-hmm.
The philosophy itself has been the same that way for at least 100 years, maybe longer, probably
Oh, yeah.
200 years, well,
Definitely
much
longer.
longer.
I was talking to my mechanic, who's was a broker, and he dabbles once in a while. He was asking me about the deals I was doing because he follows, they've shown some of the houses.
Nice.
Says, so you do the lease with the option, and you get the set price, and then in the end you cash that out, right? Son of a bitch, you know this all these years, and you're 20 years, you never told me this.
Right. Exactly.
He's actually done it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me this?
Because they
we
don't
were
make
selling
money.
cars together. I'm going to auction. We're selling cars a few
Wow.
years back, and he knew this. And he's like this Italian guy with a bad English accent, and he's a great mechanic, but he's from another country, not much education probably. He knows how to do it, but hey, I didn't know.
He can't make money doing it. That's why.
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to do that. I mean, he just did it maybe because, but he's not out chasing it. He's got
Well, the
his
only-
business.
the only
He's-
time a
he's-
realtor will
wait, read your
actually-
title again. He is.
Making a living, keeping you from making money and wealth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got a shop, him and
Yeah.
his brother and son, and they get there every day and they do their work.
Yeah.
Right.
And how come you don't save your money and just buy a house once in a while and just save up and stuff? It's just a different approach.
Right.
Not the way we do it. Not one at a time.
So the lies that are actually in your head, two at a time. Here we go. He's going
No,
go
Bill
on.
and I have a strategy.
Here we go.
We work on
Here-
houses
Naomi.
together, right? Hang
Naomi,
on.
let's give the mic to Pete.
How about we take the mic away
Pete,
from
take over. Pete,
So
turn
we
turn
have
his,
so
turn Pete's mic down.
I'm going to go off screen.
Fade him out, Em.
Bill and I, because I'm still rookie, class 5.
Oh.
I might be up to 6 now. I might be up to 6 now. But we get a deal. I find it. I work with him because I still got to learn all the details, right?
That's
So we
right.
split the money, and Bill goes, "I only get half the profit now because Pete's got the other half." So I figured what we'll do is we bought 2 a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
One on a Monday, one on a Wednesday. So when we're done, we'll have the full amount of a profit between the 2 houses. You feel better now?
Actually, what I feel better about is I was gone 5 days. I'll feel better when I walk into those houses today and see what actually happened while I was gone. Look. His lips are moving, but nothing came out.
I'm trying to be a nice person. Watch this.
Okay.
Well, Bill, if you answered some of my damn texts, I would have got more done.
That's a valid point.
I texted
I can't
you 3
even say anything
times,
to that.
and I gave up. So I'll leave in the 5 days. I'll
Dude,
just
you
let the job
wanna hear
hang.
you wanna hear something
And I
really
called
gross?
Naomi. Naomi,
Yes,
have you heard from Bill?
Yes, I can vouch for
And I
that.
talked to him Friday, but
But he's got a lot on his plate right now. He's pretty intense. 10 in the morning to 10 in the
11
evening.
o'clock, yeah.
And
You want to hear
I
something
vouch
really
for you.
gross? You wanna hear something really
sure.
gross?
We're on
Gross?
a roll.
This is really gross.
What?
Okay, this is really gross.
Okay.
I know. I met a guy. Anyways, I was in.
Met a guy.
Yeah, met a guy. Let's just leave it at that. And he's very interested. He's actually become a friend. He's from Boston.
Shocking.
And he's become a friend, and we kind of chat back and forth. I know him through the church and some other places, and I have a friend that knows him and another friend that knows him, and we kind of like whatever. And we run into one another at some different events and stuff like that. So I'm at this convention, and I'm like sitting there with the people. I'm with two people with me, and all of a sudden he walks by. He's like, Bill! I'm like, hey, Brian. So we talk for a few minutes, right? And we go off, and I don't know, later on, it's like 11 o'clock at night, I'm sitting down in the cafe, and I'm like getting something to eat because I was hungry because we had gone like 13 hours in a convention, right? And he sits down and he starts chatting with me. He says, so, I said, yeah. He says, what does somebody actually have to do to get in your coaching program? I said, well, there's an application. Dude, I filled out an application like a month ago. He says, you never freaking called me. I'm like, I have like 8 people I need to call.
Oh, he filled it out and sent it to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have like 8 people I need to call. He's like, I really want to get on your coaching program. Can we do something about that?
And that's the gross part, huh, Bill?
That's the gross part.
You
That's
said
I've got 7 or 8. In fact, he embarrassed me because I'm going to actually tomorrow. I've time blocked the morning. I'm just going to call people, and here's the reason why. Did you listen to the call last night?
I started it, this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So we started the call. How far into the call did you get?
29 minutes, 41 seconds.
Okay. So what happened in the beginning? We got one girl.
Oh.
This is just this week. One girl did a closing and pulled in over 50 grand.
Yep.
Another guy did a closing and pulled in 11 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle, God bless Kyle.
God bless him.
He's doing another closing this week or the beginning of next week and pulls in like 2 or 3 grand.
Mm-hmm.
That's just this week.
With like nothing in it.
Yeah.
Nothing
like
in it.
Like
$100.
$1.
Yeah.
Can you get copies of the checks and just post them?
I can. I just don't know if I want to.
Right.
Well, just cross all
I
the
probably
names.
could, but
I think people like to see those type of things. This week's checks, boom.
that's just this week,
Yeah.
just in the coaching because they're doing the stuff that we're talking about. I don't know how we got off on this, but
Right.
the point
Well,
is,
it's the title.
it embarrassed me because I'm just like, and I just need to hire more people and just like do more things, and I'm trying to do that, but it's a lot. I mean, I cannot emphasize how hard it is to make things simple. The good thing is that once I get this course done, which will be done in a week or so, once I get this course done, I'm going to start putting people through it, and it's going to make my life a lot easier.
Mm.
I mean, I've got other courses. We've got probably a dozen courses and stuff we sell. This is the only course that I actually put my paperwork in there.
Mm.
And
Contracts.
all not only the contracts, but all the how to sell the house. I have all my flyers in there. I have all my marketing, all my scripts, everything that Naomi and I have developed, and the stuff that we have developed over the last 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
So I wanted to go.
Wow.
Bill, I want to say something about simple to give people an idea how it really works.
Hang on 1 second. Emma, is it possible you can find me the outline script, the outline? I'm not sure where it is. The outline of the course. I think it was on my desk while Pete's talking. Please, thanks. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah. No, just the point of simple. I'm trying to get the listeners something to compare. It's an educational sequence. You don't hear much about it because it probably doesn't happen enough or it takes so long you don't notice. Whether you take music or if you're an artist or a lawyer or a barber, just something, or whatever job you have right now, if you're good at it, where you don't have to think about it, you just show up and you just bang it out and people go, wow, that's great. Think of how long it took you to get there.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you didn't know how it worked. And you kind of just memorized and went through the motions. And you didn't know what was important. You didn't know what was not important. You tried to learn it all. Yeah. And in school, if I may pick, the tests are not geared to what's important, what you need to know. Well, what would you do if this happened? What would you do if that happened? They just ask you any question in the chapters. You have to answer any question. So the kids are terrified that they have to study everything, and therefore you can't remember almost nothing, and certainly not the important stuff. But if you can get through that, you actually get into the job, you start working, you start getting the details out of the way, and you just get the principles and the concept. And it gets simpler and simpler. And it could take years. As a musician, I walk in the room, I don't have to ask a question. Brand new person, just what is going on? Boom, bang. Holy crap, what'd you do? Like, took me years to get there, but it is so simple. So if you have that kind of job where you think you're there, imagine this becoming that.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Right.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it takes time to get there.
It takes a lot of time to refine that.
About a week ago, and I haven't told you this. I haven't talked to you about this. I haven't talked to you at all, obviously.
You didn't answer my text or nothing. Say, leave Bill alone. I'll wait. See, pick on me,
Peter,
will you?
I'm
What, Bill?
sorry. I'm sorry, Peter.
No,
You're
that's,
right.
that's okay. I just felt sad.
You know what the stupid thing was?
Aw.
What?
Is actually what really happened. If you really want to know the truth,
They made you shut the phone off.
He left the phone in his room.
my phone and I were separated for 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I
Yeah.
did not have it. And if you know me, that is not. Sometimes we can't get through a communication without me like, oh, hang on a second, I got to answer this.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter will just sit there and wait for me to like answer this, and then we'll go back to whatever we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So we were separated for 4 days. Yeah, it was pretty nice actually.
Yep.
So what I realized while I was off, kind of like relaxing, okay, is what makes us unique, or what makes me unique, and you guys are following along, is I don't believe I'm really here to like make you think. You know, I don't want this think like a think tank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily here for you to do that. What I am going to do, and this is the magic, I think, is what we are doing is we're demonstrating what we do. And by pure demonstration, by showing you, because we took a live deal that we
Yeah.
did. And
Is that
that's
available to everybody?
what's that?
That live deal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the,
nice.
that's the course. The whole course
That's
is
great.
built around this live deal.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Right?
Okay.
So what we did is all we did was just document the deal. So I made a 33-minute video to show you this is the deal, and then I just built the entire course around that deal. I just did an actual deal, and I demonstrated to you this is what I do.
Yeah. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
So Emma just gave it to me. I'm just going to rattle them off, okay? And I'm not even here pushing the course, because I'm not even going to tell you what a link is to buy it. I'm not here to. I'm just telling you that it could be this simple, and this is how you're going to do it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to figure out, because we call for sale by owners. That's what we did,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to show you how to find those for sale by owners, so you can make offers to them. Then I'm going to actually give you we do it in 3 pieces. We do an opening call, then we do a closing call, and then we do a deal meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the opening call script and how to use it. It's a 1-page script that if you literally just got on the phone and just read it and said how do the, and just read it, even if you read it slow and dumb like.
In fact,
you
it
would
might be
still do
better
it. Yes.
if you read it slow and dumb
Yeah,
like.
if you just read the script, what we found is you will call between 4 and 6 people, and somebody will say yes, and you'll make an appointment.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're messing with the script, you'll call 10 people, but you'll still get somebody to say yes. Okay, so those are damn good statistics. So that right there is shorten the runway forever. So all you need to do is you need to figure out how can I get on the phone for an hour or 2 a week, and you will find a deal.
Yeah.
Now, whether you'll close a deal is another thing, because what I did realize, and I've been saying it wrong, is you'll probably have to make somewhere around 50 phone calls to make a deal. Somewhere around there.
Like
because,
talk to 50 people?
yeah, because what we figured out is that you will, and believe me, by the time you talk to 50 people, you're real damn good at the script, and it won't probably be that long. But what we found out is that you're making about five or six phone calls to get an appointment, okay, and that goes to the closing caller, okay, and then the closing caller has to get about 5 of those, okay, to get a deal. It's about 5, okay. And of course, that all has to do with your communication skills and all that stuff. But that's about normal. Okay, so what I did is I said, okay, if we need 5 closing calls, you need to make 10 phone calls. It's about 50. Really, I'm overestimating. It's probably not even that much. It's probably 25 or 30 phone calls.
Well, these could be on averages. It could be your first call, your 50th call. But
Sometimes,
That's right.
yeah.
Just talking average. You have to be willing to sit through there.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you want that script and you want to get started, which a lot of people are doing, I'm getting a tremendous amount of support tickets where people are actually just calling. In fact, I'm a little bit nervous about it. That's why I'm making the course, because I'm like coaching people that aren't clients. Aren't clients, which is fine, except, if I coach them, I don't want to, once I start, I don't want to stop in the middle of it and say, oh, well, you got to pay me, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do.
So, right.
Because I don't, anyway, so
we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So the point is that people are actually just, so if you go to flippinghouses.club /FISBO script, FSBO for sale by owner script, it's not the current version we're using, but there is a version there that will at least get you phone calls.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, I haven't released it. We're so close, but you can go on to the new site. I showed it to you last week. It was so much simpler. So the new site is flipping. Is it okay, Emma? Okay. It's flipping. It's www.flippinghousesforrookies.com.
Can't get simpler than that.
www.flippinghousesforrookies.com. Okay.
Beautiful.
And if you're interested in coaching, because I know I talked about it earlier, I'm actually, the call that I did last night, I'm going to have Emma or myself in the next few days. We're going to actually take that I'm going to give you an example of the call. So I'm going to take last night's coaching call just because it's the most current one. And I'm actually going to put that on the website of the advanced coaching, so you can go it's about 2 hours. That's usually what the calls run, 90 minutes to 2 hours. So you can go listen to the actual live coaching call. So I'm going to put that up online too on the Flipping Houses for Rookies. No, it's on flippinghouses.club/advanced coaching. So just to clarify all that. So it's for the script, go to flippinghouses.club/FISBO script. You can get the script. If you are interested in coaching, go to flippinghouses.club/advanced coaching, and there's an application. It explains how it works. It tells you how much it is. Everything is there. By this time next week, the actual MP3 file will be up from last night's coaching, or the most current coaching call, so you can get an example of what actually we cover on the coaching. Okay, and then if you want to check out the new site, it's flippinghousesforrookies.com. www.flippinghousesforrookies.com.
And they can see this outline now. What will they see when they open this up?
Yes, you can see. You can. Well, there's not much there on the course yet, but it will be. I'll have that already.
Yeah.
I'm about 2 weeks behind, so.
They see some of this outline?
No.
No, okay.
Well, they will once I get the sales page up. There's no. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do a sales page. I'm just going to do a video. I'm going to take on the back office. There is no sales page. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time writing a sales page. I'm going to just show people what's in the course, and then go from there. So we started off. I'm going to teach you how to do for sale by owners, how to find them, and then I'm going to show you how to use the script. And then I'm going to show you how you can make deals right at your desk with the scripts that we have. So basically, if you had a deal and you could bring me into the living room, would you do that? And that's what these scripts are. Okay. And then how to prepare for the deal meeting, and then how to prepare the documents for the deal meeting. So when you go out, you know what documents there are, and then how to prepare the house, how to prepare the house. Oh, so once you buy the property, you have to prepare the house to sell it. So I show you how to prepare the house to sell it. And then I show you how to advertise it and get lots of activity to it. And then how to monitor your activity so you can keep track of who's calling and who's not calling. And then I show you at the end how to close the deal and get your check. And that's like pretty much the steps. The reason why I'm going over that is not because of the course, and I'm not trying to, I guess I am pitching the course, but I don't mean to be doing that, is this is the simplicity of it. So it's like you go on Google and you find your for sale by owners. Okay, once you find your for sale by owners, you call them with the script. Right? Once they say, yes, I'm interested in a terms deal, you do a second call, or you go right into the closing call and you use the script. And the script closes them on whether you should go to the house or not.
Right.
Then you make the appointment and you go out and you look at the house, and once you're in the house, the purpose of being in the house is to sign documents and buy the house. Right?
And qualify the house, make sure
well,
it's
you
fine.
qualify the house, but if you like the house and it's a house you want, then you are there and ready to close the deal, right? And then you prepare the documents. So in other words, you sign the document, which is an option agreement, and then you're done. Now you go find your buyer, and I show you how to prepare the house so that it's most appealing and it'll sell quick. Okay. And then I show you how we actually have an automated system. Right. And I go through the automated system, and I show you, how it works, and, how we automate it. So you could do all this while you have a job. Right. I mean, Naomi has a business, and I have a business, and we do this. Technically, we don't do this full time. You have a business. Right. So everybody thinks that we're working 60 hours a week doing this. No, we're not. We're not.
I wish I had 30 hours to do this a week. I try maybe 10, 15, maybe 20, but no, you just squeeze it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And things still
the more
happen.
you do, the more you can do, but
Yeah, and things still happen. And like you said, the more you do it, the more you can do.
Right.
Because the other stuff starts kind of phasing out.
So once I show you how to set the house up and how to sell the house, then the next thing I do is I show you how to get traffic to it, because that's my forte. I mean, I'm a marketing guy, so I'm going to show you some things that I know other people are not showing. I mean, we got that done. I mean, it took us a little while.
Yeah, the last couple of months I've been watching you guys on the houses you had. You found some smart stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you haven't done anything like this, any kind of sales or to talk to people or market anything,
doesn't matter anymore.
Because I've done that for years, so it doesn't scare me. But if you haven't, the first thing you're gonna think is, well, nobody's gonna call.
Right.
And you're
they
crazy.
do.
You're crazy. Number one, for sale by owners wants you to call them.
Right.
They're waiting for that phone to ring. You're going to think, gee, should I bother this person? Should I call? You call. I don't want to bother.
Yeah,
Are you crazy? They're waiting for you to call them.
Yeah.
When you call, they're going to say, honey, somebody's on the phone calling about the house.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what happens. And then when you go to sell the thing, there's people looking for houses.
Yeah.
They want the house. There's millions of people in this country. They want houses.
Well, because
and they will answer. There'll be plenty of people. It's crazy how
the
much.
only reason why
things you
any
get.
marketing campaign doesn't work is because the message to market match doesn't work. So the message isn't matching the market. So what we've done is we've figured out how to find the exact market for people that are selling, and we give them the exact message they want to hear. And then we do the same thing when they're buying the house. We go find that guy that is like can't buy a house, can't get a mortgage or whatever, and we go looking for him, which, by the way, is 81% of the population.
Is it the minority or the majority? That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
It's not, you're thinking, well, there's only a few people in that situation. I'm looking for needle in a haystack. Wrong again.
Right.
No, it's the majority.
So it's the information that you have that you think is correct that's not.
Or you have no information, don't have any idea, but you're just going to go on what you know. So open your mind to everything else going on.
Right. So, when I say this is an underground thing, and I really mean that, because it's like this is not mainstream information.
Not at all.
This is not something you're going to get from your closing attorney. You may even go to your a realtor and say, "What about this lease option?" And they'll be like, "Oh no, poo." Because think about it, the most amount of money that a realtor could get on a lease option is a month's worth of rent. So if the rent is $1,500 a month, that's what they're going to get paid, and they got to split it up between 4 people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
The selling broker and the selling agent, and the buying broker and the buying agent. So there's 4 people.
It's not a lot to.
It's much different than if you if they sell the house for $160,000 or $200,000 and make 6%, which is $12,000.
Right.
It's much different. So what would they rather make, the $12,000 or the $1,500? It's obvious.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna want to do that. It's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Very natural thing.
So the question is why would we want to do that? Well, because we're the owner.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make a lot more than the 6%.
Right.
But they aren't.
Right.
Right. And then I've had many people ask me, well, especially my attorney is an absolute example of this. I can't tell you how many times he's given me a check at the end of a closing, and he's like, I got to learn what you do. He's like, you would think he would do that, but he does the deals.
Yeah.
He does the closings. I don't even go to the closings.
Yeah.
He does them. Now here's a classic example. We're trying to close on a 2-family house, right? And I went away for 5 days, and what happened? Nothing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right? You know what happened?
Didn't close Friday, huh?
They didn't close. You want to know why?
What?
Because there wasn't a water meter reading. And the lady lives like an hour and a half away, and she was protesting coming down because in her mind, once she realized we were for real, Naomi recognized that, once she realized we were for real,
She relaxed.
she stopped.
She relaxed. It was kind of like when we made the deal, she's like, I want it by the end of the week. And we're like, okay. I mean, pulled together the
We
funds.
put the money in
3 days.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, they're legit. And then everything else is just kind of, I'll get down there when I get down there. And
Right.
she almost like disconnected from.
And it's a divorce, and her and her husband, and she's been taking care of the property because the husband lives in Chicago, the property's in Connecticut. My point is that first of all, those deals are out there. We found it on a for sale by owner on a phone call. Okay, and second of all, when they're motivated, they're motivated. There's no other way to put it. And she was motivated. Okay, so the thing is that now, well, here's what happened. Now, my exact point is the attorney he's got the money in his account. It cleared like 10 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the full.
Yeah.
In fact, there's more than what he needs because we're going to get a check back from the closing.
Nice.
Right? For some repairs and stuff.
Yep.
All right. So he says to me, I want to get a meter read. So he's like, I'm like, okay. He says, well, here's your choice. He said, because I talked to him like on Friday or something like that. So here's your choice. The other attorney wants to adjust the water meter because they can't get the girl down there to do. They've been chasing her for like a week, trying to get her to come open the door to let the water company in to make a meter read. Where was the meter, by the way?
It was in the basement.
So
I go in, break in. Mm-hmm. Oh, I did not break in. The door was wide open.
Well, let's just put it this way. It wasn't a forced entry, but it was definitely an entry.
It was an entry.
Because we don't have keys yet.
And so we go down to the basement, and in one little corner, not near the washing machine, it was actually some obscure corner kind of across. But yeah, there was the meter. And the water company said that for the closings, they want to see the actual.
Right.
They said for billing, fine, they can do the outside. They said they can actually just drive by and they get a reading.
Okay.
So.
Oh, is that what it was? So there is.
That's how we
outside.
knew. That's how we knew that something was.
So my point
the
is,
inside meter is different than what they would get as a reading.
That's another story. That's a whole other story. Bureaucracy.
In case their electronics are a little off, maybe.
That means it's okay for them to overbill you.
I know, right?
On a regular basis,
Well,
but when it's a closing and the lawyer's involved, we better check it.
No, they would adjust in 3 months, and once the closing is done, they can't go back and adjust.
Right.
And
Which
get
is
their
the reason why
$22.
my attorney kept saying to me, now there's a tenant in there that we don't want in there. It's a 2-family house and the second floor is occupied.
Oh, I got their data, by the way.
Oh, good. So the same. Good job, Naomi. So what I'm telling my attorney is okay. As soon as you close, I want to make sure you're satisfied with everything, because as soon as you close, I'm not going to touch the house. You just go right into eviction process with the tenant upstairs. So he's kind of like, now he knows the pressure's on him, because he's like, it's not me guiding the deal anymore. Here's my point. He had an intuition, which I trusted, because he does a lot of closings for me. And he's like, Bill, I've had in the last 6 months, I've had a lot of problems with water. I really want to make sure I can do the adjustment, and I could make the closing happen. But I've had a lot of trouble with water, and I'm like, okay. He said, so I would prefer we get a reading, but we're not going to close on your schedule. And I'm like, I was away anyway, so I'm thinking, what's the big deal? So I just told him, go ahead. Naomi goes in there yesterday to find out they did a meter read, and the meter has used 6,000 gallons of water.
6,000.
That's
like a $600 water bill. 5 days.
In 5 days?
5 days. So I did a sweep of the house. I knocked on the tenants upstairs.
No, it wasn't 5 days. It was the last meter read.
Friday. From Friday to Wednesday. So that's...
Really?
And it's leaking in the ground. There's like a section that's not concrete.
Right.
And
there's
it's
like
leaking
a
right in the ground.
Hot water?
Hot water.
So I go banging on the tenant's door. I'm like, something's up.
Mm-hmm.
So I go checking all of everything's good. Toilet's okay. Sinks are okay. Everything's okay. Everything is okay on the first floor. I'm like, okay. Hot water heater.
You say it's leaking in the basement?
In the basement.
Right.
So I checked the hot water heaters. Sure enough, it sent you the video, just like a steady stream.
And it's going down through the house into the basement?
There's a crack in the cement directly under the hot water heater, and it's almost like leaking into the crack that's leaking into the ground.
Right, but how does that relate to the second floor leak?
There is no second floor leak.
It's hot water heaters for the second floor.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah, it's just...
But they're not doing anything wrong up there.
Not that I could see. I mean, I'm not a plumber, but...
Wow.
I run
so the lawyer was right, because we would have made an adjustment.
Yeah.
Based on past water bills.
Oh, yeah, and you would have paid her water bill.
Yeah.
Her neglect for not fixing the water heater.
Do we have any idea how long this has been going on?
Months. I asked the tenant, how long has this been going on? She said months. Yeah. I almost fell off my... I said, can you imagine the water bill that... Well, that probably helped us close the sale, because in her mind, she's thinking, I have a $1,200 water bill, if not more, every, month. So.
Wow. How do they
That's
tell?
Like commercial grade water bill.
Yeah.
How can they tell it's leaking? Because they don't see the bill, do they?
It was just suspicious. It was just... I asked him, what was your reading on Friday?
He knows what the readings were.
And because he drove by.
He did a drive-by and got the electronic meter on Friday.
Right. So we compared that to the reading and found that about almost 6,000 gallons had gone through. 6,000.
I thought I had a problem in my house. I had a leak under my house with a leaking line under the concrete slab years ago. That wasn't fun. But 6,000? Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously we'll close on Friday, and the first thing I'll do is I'm gonna talk to the boys today, and I'm going to put a new hot water heater in.
Yeah.
Yup.
Credit. Oh my gosh.
Why waste that much money? Just fix it.
I mean,
it's costing
a hot
more
water
not to.
heater is, what, $500, for an inexpensive one, and install it.
Well, the crazy thing is the house is gas. If you call the gas company up, they'll put it in and put it on your bill.
Yeah.
They won't even charge you for it. They'll be like, yeah, okay, you got to pay $30 a month. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the point that I'm trying to make is that the attorney had that on his desk for probably 7 or 8 days, and couldn't get the water meter taken care of. 5 or 7 days, he couldn't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about this last night on a coaching call, and you'll be soon to be able to hear it because I'm going to put it on the advanced thing. But we were talking about who's in charge of the sale, right? And at the end of the day, what you're always going to realize is the checks come in. Whoever the check is going to, the big check, that's the person in charge of the sale.
Mm-hmm.
Like a homeowner will hire a realtor thinking that the realtor is in charge of the sale, right? So the homeowner doesn't realize they're in charge of the sale, but because they only do one sale once a lifetime or twice a lifetime, maybe 3 times a lifetime, they're not familiar with the process, so they're expecting the realtor to be in charge of the sale or the attorney to be in charge of the sale and give them advice.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is that these folks don't make a lot of money, right? They're not making enough money to pay attention to the sale. And some, I'm not saying everyone, this is not an absolute, but a majority of the time, the realtor and the closing attorney, they have so many deals they're not paying attention.
Mm-hmm. And one doesn't work under the other either. They're working more side by side.
Yeah.
So one's not senior to the other to be the boss.
Right.
So they're all in tandem, and you're the boss on top.
You need a boss.
So they're under you.
You need a boss.
So, yeah. You're the general contractor of your sale.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't either. I didn't.
You were trying to express the idea.
So my point is.
Bad
I'm
analogy.
sorry, I cut you off, Naomi.
Oh, that's okay.
Just trying to rescue my bad analogy.
I was trying to help Pete out, but I'm not so enthused about that.
It's fine. You haven't been talking much today. Give her a chance to say something. She needs to come up with something better than just following my bad lines.
So the point that I'm trying to make here is that all this that we're talking about could sound complicated. And guess what? If it's your first round, it is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So why deal with that? Why do that?
Mm-hmm. Well, you
Why
probably
not?
won't.
Yeah, that's what my point is. Is what we're talking about here is that you go to a seller that's willing to rent to you their property until you can pay them later. In most cases, it's a 24-month process. It's 2 years. So if you go to your seller and say, Mr. Seller, I would like to buy your house and I would like to give you the month. I give you all the money in 24 months from now. In the meantime, I want to pay all the expenses. Will you let me do that? That is a terms deal.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, then you negotiate the numbers. So you make sure you have money now, money monthly, money later. Money now is going to be your deposit from your buyer.
Yeah.
Money monthly is going to be the difference in the spread between what you pay the seller and what you collect from the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And money later is the equity that you're going to collect later on. Right? So if you can do that deal. Now, if you can't do that in a lease option, that's why we invented this thing called a slot deal.
Right.
The slot deal means that you don't stay in the deal. You just take the deposit money and you let the two of them pay one another because you're not staying in the deal because there's not enough cash for you to stay in the deal every month.
Right.
No cash, no equity.
Yeah. So how do you determine which one you do? Because you determine the amount of money that you're going to make depending on how much time you have put in it. So if you're able to make, let's say you buy a $100,000 house for $60,000 on an option, so you got $40,000 worth of equity, and he says to you, okay, I'll let you lease the house from me for $500 a month. Okay, so that means you can sell the house. We'll say a $90,000 house. We'll say you can sell it for $90,000. Which is ultra conservative. Usually I would sell for $110,000, but say you could sell it for $90,000, right? So now you just made $30,000 in equity, right? Okay, so then you rent it to the guy for $900,
right?
So you're collecting $900, you're paying $500, so you stay in the deal because you can spend more time on it because you're making more money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So every month you would get a check for $900, you would pay the seller $500, and you're making $400. $400, okay? $400 over the course of a year is $4,800. We'll say $5,000. If you rented it for 2 years, that's $10,000, right? Plus, you made the $30,000 in equity that you have, so you made $40,000.
Yep.
Okay, you made $40,000, and how much time did you put into this deal? Not as much time as we're going to put into this two-family that we have to renovate, and not as it's much easier money. And by the way, it's a lease from the seller, so you don't own the property. There's no risk. You didn't need to have your credit checked. You didn't need to borrow any money. You didn't need to do anything. All you needed was $100 to write the option agreement, and that was it. You didn't need anything else. Mm-hmm. You don't need all this other stuff. Now, can you do those deals? Should you do subject to deals? Should you do owner finance deals? Should you do rehab and retail? Should you do wholesale? Absolutely. But for right now, what I'm telling you is you could do this deal and you could make $40,000 in a 2-year period. If you did one of those a month, how much money would you have at the end of 2 years?
Oh, that's crazy.
Right. I mean, because do the math, like $400 every month.
Right. Mm-hmm. If you did one 12. Every other month and you did 6 a year.
Yeah.
What would that do to your job in a couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
by themselves making maybe $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or $10,000 up front. It's not bad. But like $400 a month, that's not a lot. It's good.
Times 10.
Do it again. Do it again.
You do that. You do that 10 times, and all of a sudden it's $4,000.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've got one of those. I want another one of those now.
Right.
Then another one.
Right.
By the way, I might have a buyer for your Meriden house.
Good.
All right.
Good. I've got 2 people. The realtor was supposed to go there today. I got to go find out what's going on with it. I haven't been in there. I haven't heard from them either, and they didn't text me.
Well, they knew that you were.
Yeah. Well, the cat's away.
The
there will be cigar smoke in that house in about 2 hours, and that will be my cigar. Imagine that. I was away 5 days, didn't have a cigar.
5 days? You okay?
Yeah.
You okay?
It's probably better.
You look good. You look good.
Here we go. Here we go.
More life, more of a glow.
Oh, here
you got
we
good
go.
color. You got good color.
Healthy.
And you smell good.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah. These guys, what you guys don't know is these guys, when they leave here, they go have a meeting at Whole Foods. The 2 of them. They have a little club at Whole Foods.
We need to cleanse our...
It's a buffet.
Yeah. All right, so all I'm trying to get to here, so we can kind of wind the show down, is the truth is that you can do this if you do what we're talking about. If you rent to own from your seller with enough, and even you could do it both ways. If there's not enough money in the rent to own, say the guy says I want $900 a month, he's willing to sell to you for $90,000, and it's a $100,000 property, and he wants $900 a month. How do you make money with that? You do a slot deal.
Yep.
So a slot deal is a sandwich lease option transaction, right? You put $10 into the slot machine and it brings out $10,000.
Exactly.
That's how it came about.
You bring the tenant buyer.
So what you do is you say to the buyer, the seller, you say to him, okay, well, I'm going to go find my buyer. I need 90 days to do it, and when I find my buyer, I'm going to let him rent from you for the $900, and he's going to pay you the $90,000.
Right.
And I'm going to charge that person $100,000. So I'm going to take the deposit from him, and I'm going to keep it. That's my fee, or whatever you want to call it. You shouldn't call it a fee, but that's my expense for finding the buyer.
Right. And I want to add, if you're running into a seller that is demanding a deposit, first of all, try to get out of the deposit by just explaining the way it works. But if he's absolutely demanding, rather than trying to stress out about how am I going to get $3,000 to pay this guy, arrange it so that when the tenant buyer comes to the table, that part of what the tenant buyer is paying, you use to pay the seller. So like Bill was saying, you don't need money. This is how to get around that.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying in a shorter version, because you said it correctly, is you're going to get the money, you're going to get whatever deposit money you want from your buyer.
Exactly.
So you're going to tell your seller, I'll give you $3,000 when he gives it to me.
Exactly.
So you're just not going to give it to him the day you close. So you give him the $100 on the option.
Yep.
And you tell him, okay, when I find my buyer and they move in, we'll give you the $3,000.
Exactly.
Would you change your numbers like the price of the house because you're giving them some deposit?
Yeah, totally. All that's a variable. The point is that once he says yes, even if the seller says, okay, it's a $100,000 house, I want $90,000 and I want $900 a month, you can still go make $10,000 because you sell the house to your buyer for $100,000. You take a $10,000 deposit, and what's left, $100,000 minus $10,000 is $90,000, which is what you owe your seller.
Right.
And the buyer owes that now.
Right.
And the buyer owes that now because you assigned your option agreement to the buyer.
Right.
Yep.
So you signed an option agreement with the seller. You gave him $100, and you sold it to your buyer for $10,000, and you put the two of them together with a lease and an option, and they're together, and everything's fine. You take your $10,000, you walk away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Point
yeah.
is you didn't need an attorney, you didn't need a realtor, you didn't need any, and you I mean, I still do yellow letters. We still do signs. All the things we were talking about for a year, we still do.
Yeah.
But this is banging. So much so that we were talking this morning. I started with Peter this morning when he came in talking about hiring an agency to do the opening calls, and then you come in and said you put an ad on Craigslist, and then Emma comes in the room and says, "Ah!" And then we come over here so that we can. That was a good thing, by the way.
Yes.
Because it's 9:30 and the three of us have no concept of time sometimes. So Emma's in the room every 30 seconds.
Come on, guys.
It's 9:30. You guys ready? It's 9:30.
Thank
You guys ready?
God
We're gonna start
for
the
Emma.
show. Yes.
We would be like just.
Oh God. I can't tell you how many times in the last. So you guys didn't talk. But how about ask Emma? How many times did I talk to Emma? Yeah, she doesn't say I ignored her text.
Oh, you talked to Emma?
I
was wondering what the list was. Emma, Pam,
No.
Naomi,
No.
I
me.
got a call every morning.
Who's first on the list? Emma's
Emma,
first.
yeah.
Emma. Who's second?
It
Pam?
depends on what day it is. No.
No.
I think
Pam
Pam's
is my
first
wife.
on
Lawyer.
Pam
No.
is not first on the list.
No,
I'm
Pam
No.
is- no.
He's working.
Oh, right.
So Emma, lawyer,
Usually.
then Naomi,
Yeah.
then me.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but Emma's always the one that bails me out because
Right.
I'm like on the airplane. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to send a text to my coaching client, so I'm on the phone. And she's like, Tad, you know you could do it right from your phone. Yeah, but I'm on the airplane, Emma. Can you do it for me? Yeah, but I can't do it unless your phone is. I'll leave my phone on, Emma. Can you? And finally she realized, okay, I just got to do this.
Well, it's because he was trying to send a group text to his coaching clients, which he did last week. So all he had to do was go back through his text, find the conversation, and send the text he wanted to send. And
Or
for
send it
me-
to my assistant and
Yeah.
have
me
her
to
do it.
I have to go down to. I have to get on his computer, find the conversation, and do it that way. And if he has his phone off, it doesn't work because then the text doesn't get sent out because it gets head from. It was a thing.
So Emma ended up sending the email.
She sent a text. Yeah.
I was wondering about that. I thought, wow, Bill, you're really on top of things for
I am.
everything that I know you have going on today. You still managed to get that out.
I am on top of things. I'm on top of Emma.
I also did notice he sent the same exact text last week in about like 3 more sentences.
Yeah.
Like mine was just a quick, don't forget the call,
Right.
and his was like this whole thing.
Anyway, so in summation, the thing that we're talking about doing is actually renting a house or an apartment or a condo or a piece of property
Yeah.
from a seller and finding a buyer that will want to do a rent-to-own and get in the middle. And you do not need realtors. You do not need private money guys. You do not need attorneys. You don't need banks. You don't need insurance people. You don't need any of that because you are not going to own the property. All you're going to do is control it.
Right.
And when you learn what I'm telling you, I kid you not. I mean, look at Kyle. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a 20-year-old kid in college,
great.
and he keeps picking up. I mean, he picked up a check for $9,000, but he's got one for $3,000, one for $2,000, and he's doing it consistently.
Yeah.
And this is over a few months, not like a year or two. This
Exactly.
is a few months.
Exactly. And I think even in the few months, like he's developed, like once he realized it, once he grasped it, I mean, his mastery is just like quadrupling.
Right. Yeah, the thing is, which we didn't talk about today, which I purposely did want to do because last couple of weeks it was very motivational. The biggest problem that we have is getting people to believe they can do it.
Right. Right.
That's our barrier. So that's where I decided to put this, and it's not a course; it's a demonstration of what we did to close this house. I mean, I did a video that's 33 minutes. We documented it. Em and I documented it. So it's every step. So it's like it's not a pretty video, right? It's got me in fact, I'm in the car smoking my cigar, choking on the smoke.
It's
And
very real life.
yeah,
Yeah.
we edited nothing. The only editing we did was put there were 16 videos. We put them together so you can see what we did. And it was over the course of some days and weeks, right? So it's like each step we did, we just documented a couple minutes, like this is what I just did. And then I go into the course. Once you see what the steps are, I go into the course and I explain each one of those steps. So this is very practical.
Well, it's like, would you rather have somebody tell you about how something works or show you?
Yes.
You know?
And that's what I decided because you and I keep talking about the doingness is the most important part. Getting
Yeah.
people to do it is the most important part. And then I realized not too long ago, and you and I had talked about it, Pete, my biggest barrier is getting people to believe that this is true.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped talking about, paying off debt and, all these things that I thought people wanted. No, what people want is they want a system that works.
Yeah.
They want something that they can actually control. They can step on the throttle or let up on the throttle. I mean, I've done it for 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday on the bus ride coming over, and they're asking me what I did before I did this. And I'm like, I work for this company. And I'm telling this whole story. I'm thinking to myself, I worked for this company for 6 years.
Wow.
And in the 6 years, I traveled the country, and I made 80% of my income from selling houses.
Yeah.
20% of my time. I had Jessie living with me at the time. She was 19 years old, and she was like giving contract. I'd call her up, okay, give this contractor that check. I put her on the checkbook. I put her on my company, so she's a signer. She went to the closing. She picked up the check. She put it. She deposited them. She did all of it.
Go, Jessie.
Right? And even she said to me, we just renovated a house. She's like, Dad, I did all that work for you before, and I thought that I was like really good at what I did. And then when I renovated my house, I'm like, I had no idea that I didn't know what I didn't know. And we renovated her house, did a $35,000 renovation, and I'm like, do this and do that and do this and do. And I still did a majority of the work.
Yeah.
But I made her do more, and that's when I realized there's a lot of work. Why? How? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of money,
Right.
but
When
why
you-
not?
Well,
get,
it's not free.
Right.
You have to actually earn it, but it's.
But
it's-
why not get people to make $3,000 or $5,000 to start with and get used to the process and graduate to that? So basically, here's what happened. It was too steep of a gradient.
Right.
To put somebody in a rehab, their first deal is too steep of a gradient.
Yeah.
But that's what's on television.
Right. I'm telling you that what we are teaching you is the fastest, easy, and then do that first. So go find a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to use my course, I'm going to have a release date pretty soon. If you don't want to use my course, that's totally fine. Go on the site to flippinghouses.club to Fizbo script, get the script, and have at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to within a week you're going to find a deal, and you're going to be like, what paperwork do I use, and how do I do it? That's what's
Right.
going to happen.
Yeah, it's in the course then.
Yeah.
It happened to me. I started making when I got the Bill's marketing system and I started doing all that stuff. I want to practice. So what I do, I called some for sale by owners. It's the first thing I did, and then I was in a house within 7-10 days with him
Yeah.
looking at it. He was shocked.
Yeah.
I actually followed instructions.
We should have done it then.
Yeah, and then I don't know why we stopped doing it. We figured, well, they're a waste of time. Let's do the better leads that we get in. Maybe they weren't better leads, or
Yeah.
anyways. But my take on what you're doing with the terms deal is, as speaking as somebody who's tried to do this off and on for like 30 years until I actually did it. You have the least amount of steps in the system
Right.
to learn. So it's the least amount of things that you have to learn, step. And it's the easiest learning curve as far as types of steps. It's the easiest way to do it and the quickest way to a check. Does it matter how big the check is? Does it have to be 30,000? Is 5,000 okay? Or zero? Here's your choice.
Well, just to your point, it takes you 6 or 7 months to do a $30,000 check, right? So what happens if you did 7 of those deals making 3,000 to 5,000?
You're in the same place.
amount of money.
But it's
Yeah, but my
And
point
it's
is
actually less
faster.
work.
right.
Plus
but
you
my
have-
point is you probably won't do the rehab because you can't.
Right.
So you get nothing or
Right.
something to start
Right.
with that you can expand from. I talked to someone yesterday that does some real estate, but he needs to learn this system, so he's coming to the workshop to learn it.
nice.
He wants to do it, but because he's kind of into business, he has an idea of the other things, so he can use the other systems too. He doesn't have to wait, but he has to find the leads better. So
Yeah.
he can be off and running. The new guy, just start with a simple system, do a simple
That's
terms
right.
deal, and work from there.
That's right.
So we talked about last week calling it the Henry Ford model,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
basically, Henry Ford decided very young in his career that he wanted to make automobiles that every American
Everybody
can afford and use.
Right.
That was his goal. And from that came the assembly line. From that came the $5 a day when everybody else was paying $2 or $3 a day.
Right.
And from that came the 40-hour work week so that the employees can drive the cars on the weekends and enjoy them. Right? So that's what happened. And look what happened to the country. Right?
Completely changed.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I believe that's my motto is that I believe that we should make an affordable way for people to learn how to buy and sell real estate that want to be investors, and we've done that. We've done that. It's cost me great grief and lots of money, but that's okay because I've learned. I feel very competent now that I can say somebody says to me I want to learn how to buy and sell real estate. Oh, go here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take
Yeah.
14 years worth of experience, and in one day, if you just sit down on one day, one Saturday, and watch the videos and do this, on Monday you will start making phone calls, and probably a week from then you'll have leads and you'll be making offers.
Mm-hmm. So I used to ask you, you don't talk to people much about real estate, do you? No, because they ask me, I have to try to explain all this stuff, and it's too...
Right.
You can't.
Because everybody
You
I
ju- you
talk
just
to,
have to send
they
them.
say, I want to do that.
How do you do it, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay, sit down. You can
Right.
explain
Right,
it all
right.
to them. Not happening.
Just
Not happening.
You put it into a compact, precise
Right.
thing. Yeah.
So the idea is that, you know, it's the Henry Ford model. It's like I want every American that wants to be able to make extra cash and have a business. You don't need to get LLCs. You don't need to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
You can once
Sure.
you get going. But let me ask you, Pete, what would be better for you? If you decided you wanted to start a business and you needed money for marketing and to develop a LLC and get your business going, would you rather take the money out of your pocket or out of your first deal?
Yeah, first deal. And my first LLC came after I closed down the house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Naomi,
closed.
what would you rather do?
Same thing, of course.
So why would you want to take the money out of your pocket? So why not do a deal? You could do your first
Right.
deal, make $3,000. Now all of a sudden you could set up an LLC that costs $300 or $400,
Right.
and all of a sudden you got $500 to do some more marketing or hire a virtual assistant. By the way, if you go to AskSunday.com, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's supposed to. Yeah, you can hire a virtual assistant and make the phone calls for you, which we're going to start testing pretty soon.
Right.
I actually have clients that are using it. Right, so you actually get a virtual assistant. So if you do have a job, picture this: if you do have a job, you give you hat up the virtual assistant, and I'm gonna make that's the next system I'm gonna make is how to automate.
Right.
Right, so you give the virtual assistant the 2 or 3 videos that I'm gonna make for you. Right, say watch these videos, which is about an hour and a half's worth of videos, and then you tell them, okay, here's the script, and you tell them have at it.
Yeah.
Now once a week you're gonna get 4 or 5 leads. Right?
I would
And you do
imagine.
the closing call. They're going to do the opening call. You do the closing call. So you got a job. So you make what? 2 hours with the phone calls. And on Saturday you go out and look at the house. You're going to tell me
Right.
you can't do that?
Right.
If you can't do that, get off my podcast. I
Yeah.
don't like you. You're gone. You're
Yeah.
done.
It's very doable.
It's like just go because you're just you're doing something in your head that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I could buy a house with just Googling.
Yeah.
No, you have to pick up the phone and call.
There's no MLS searching. There's none of that. It's like literally. I mean, when we get done, it's not done yet. But when we get done, it's going to be that simple. You give your I'm going to show you where to go to get a virtual assistant. You pay them, and it's a few $100s a month. You pay them, and that's the only money you'll come up with. You'll pay for the course, and you'll pay for the virtual assistant. And you don't even have to do that your first deal. Your first deal, you just do yourself.
Yeah.
And then once you realize that you don't want to be on the phone, you spend a few $100s for the virtual assistant from the money that you made on the first deal, right? And then you turn around and you have the virtual assistant do the scripts, and then all you have to do is answer, do a closing call that takes, 30 minutes?
Right.
Right? So you do 5 closing calls a week or 3 closing calls a week, and you'll have an appointment or 2. So if you do 2 or 3 appointments, like I say before, if you make an offer a day, the debt goes away. So if you make 2 or 3 offers a week, at the end of the month, you'll have a deal. You do 1 deal a month. Make 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, and they'll get better as you get better. So,
Statistics. Numbers.
but you need to know what the underground information is, which we were talking about today. You need to know that there's option agreements and there's leases and all that kind of stuff. Okay?
Yes.
Emma's given us, she put the screen up. That means we're done.
The goodbye?
Yeah, we need to get out of here.
Goodbye.
We're over the hour. All right, so if you have any questions, you can send a support ticket to info@flippinghouses.club, info@flippinghouses.club. Also, go to flippinghouses.club/podcast and give us a review on iTunes.
Yes.
So if you go to flippinghouses.club/podcast, all 80 shows or 82 shows are there. They're all archived. You can listen to any one that you like. You can download them. You can listen to them, whatever you want to do. But on the top right-hand side of the page is a link that says iTunes. And also check out our new website, www.flippinghousesforrookies.com. Okay? Over and out.
All right.
Until next week.
Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.